On our previously primed miniature with white, we apply Biel 10 green shade. This way, we will obtain highlights and shadows quickly with fewer layers of paint. For the t-shirt, we apply Wyldwood contrast to have a harmonious color scheme. This is a quick painting method, ideal for painting armies or if you have a D&D session tonight. We will use contrast paints and washes to achieve a good result in a short time. We will cover the pants with Overlord olive to have different tones in the clothing. Despite being browns, we want to stay within the same color palette but with some variation. In this painting method, we need to be careful not to stain previously painted areas, as we are using washes and mistakes stand out quite a bit. We now start highlighting. For the t-shirt, we use Quicksand brown, painting the high folds of the miniature. We can see how we obtain a very pronounced contrast, maintaining the separation between the two colors without transitioning between them. To highlight the pants, we use the same process, marking the high folds. For this, we use a mix of 70% Overlord olive and 30% khaki. With green goblin, we now start marking the light planes of the skin. This miniature has a well-defined expression and muscles, so it's easy to identify the areas to highlight where the light would hit directly. As I said before, this is a quick painting tutorial. It may seem like we are applying many techniques, but the process is the same in each step. In the case of the skin, we just pay more attention to the details so that in the end, the result is more defined on the face, which is our focal point. With a 50-50 mix of Quicksand brown and khaki, we mark the highlights of the shirt. We apply these on the edges of the folds and add the transition between light and shadow tone to enhance the contrast of the miniature even more. We do the same on the pants, but this time using the colors Overlord olive and khaki, also in a 50-50 mix. From this point on, the level of light you want to obtain on the miniature is up to the painter's decision. If we want to illuminate even more, we only need to apply more light color to the mix being used and reduce the area that we're painting. Similarly, we mark the highlights of the skin but using rotten green, so our orc will have a very saturated green skin. Now, let's move on to the metallic elements, such as the knife and the bracelets. Let's paint those with black before the first layer of metallic paint. Then, we proceed to cover these elements with Leadbelcher. We use black as our base to enhance the shine of the metallic pigment. If we applied it over white, the metal would be very light and it would need a couple more passes before it really shines. Now, to mark the edge of the knife and the highlights of the metal, we use a mix of 30% Leadbelcher and 70% Mystic White. Applying dry brush, we start painting the base, first using black gray for the rocks. On the base, we want to be much more subtle with the variation of the colors and saturation, being careful not to draw attention away from the miniature, which is obviously the main piece. We now proceed to highlight with dark blue-gray all these areas. And finally, we apply wolf gray. This color will help us mark the edges of the rocks. For the bricks, we'll be using brown skin. And now, we finish by painting the water with ocean blue. And that's it! Within a couple of hours, we have a beautifully painted miniature ready for our game. If you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more painting tutorials.